Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. And wow, episode 8 was probably the best one yet. Did you guys see all of the stuff that happened in this? um, okay, first I'm just point out, did you notice that there was a Stepford cuckoo in this? The second oldest one, I believe, Esma. Sophia should be the oldest one. And wow, Esma was actually the bad one out of all of them. None of them were really particularly great, but this one was like particularly bad. And then and Kick, they were mentioning Kick in this. That one super fast mutant had Kick. Wow, wow, and that's also what it turns out they were using for all their friends and whatnot who were on the Hound program. Oh my God, there was so much in here. First off, I'd rather them have used Sophia Cuckoo because in the Chaos War X-Men two-parter, she actually wound up falling in love with and John Proudstar wound up falling in love with her. So that was that I don't know. For me, that was actually really good. There's the perfect way for them to both die together. They said, "I hope that if I ever get resurrected again, it's with you." And it was like, "Oh my God, that's so freaking beautiful." So it would have been like an extra special thing if they were resurrected in this series, so to speak. Um, wow, so much happened here. We got the mutant who was super fast, who was actually a hound. We got to see a triple team on her. We got to see the thing with not proud. What do you call it? Not DaCosta. Yeah, I'm going to just keep on calling him that because it's way too funny. And he got stuck there, or excuse me, he had her stuck there. Meanwhile, she's what's the name? Proudstar. John Proudstar said to God, it's late. It's 4 in the morning. Anyway, says to what's her name? Blank says, listen, can you I need to get on top of her. Can you do that? Okay, wake up, Bill. Anyway, so she does a portal on the ground. He jumps through it and lands on top. Boom! An uppercut. It's like, it was so vicious, they couldn't even show the actual uppercut. It was like, yeah, something's going to block the way because this is going to be just wicked. I mean, you saw like that one dude, he's the old guy at the church, who's, yeah, just, I'm going to move this. Could you give me a hand, Sonny? Oh, yeah, sure, here you go. It goes flying back. Like Proudstar is probably the easiest one to mess with. Thunderbird, but we got to meet Andy and Lauren Strucker's father. Turns out that he's a mutant, and he cured. Oh God, that is such a dirty, disgusting word with mutants. But cured his son, but it wasn't a permanent cure. It wasn't a genetic cure. It's just it cured him. It didn't cure his progeny. So his kids would obviously still have that. And the idea of them still holding hands. Now, you guys might notice I'm holding off on a certain subject. You notice the little Fenris thing right down there. Fenris, explained in a minute. It's in the description below. You could, it's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I think it's about a 2 minute video about these characters. The Struckers were clearly designed after Fenris in this TV show. But more than that, I didn't think they were actually going to use Fenris. I honestly didn't think that they were allowed to use Fenris. Fenris has ties with Baron Strucker, who is a Nazi war leader. He was the first real true leader of Hydra and made his first appearance in the Nick Fury books, the Agent of S.h.i.e.L.D. books. Wild stuff. It was in the Nick Fury and the Howling Commando stuff. Like, that's how far this goes back in the mid 60s. And he had two children. Whatever the freaking name is, I can't remember right now. It's so late. Andreas and his sister, Andrea. God, it's so late. And they had the power. Now, the way their power originally worked was separated. They had no powers, but when they held hands, then they had some serious powers. He could use a concussive beam that would just wipe away anything, and she had a disintegrator ray that would literally like vaporize, atomize anything. And they also had the ability to fly, but all of this was only when they held hands, and they couldn't use their powers at the same time. It'd be like either him or her. So yeah, they could fight for that. And they were also incestuous, which was But yeah, they were absolute Nazi types. So all of that was perfect. Like I could not believe when I saw it in the beginning. They didn't say Andrea's name. They did say Andreas's name, and I literally like with the accents and everything. I'm like, oh my god, this is Fenris. And then later on, when they actually hold hands and it starts to glow, holy crap! I marked out, and then they actually use the name. They're Fenris, the wolf. Damn. So this must have been a permission thing from Marvel. It had to have been. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why Marvel in the Avengers they don't use Kang. Kang was the third big villain that the Avengers had to face. First was Loki, then was the Space Phantom, and then was just said his name, Kang. So Kang the Conqueror, the time traveler, and all sorts of crazy things. So why hasn't the Avengers? Why hasn't Marvel used him yet? Well, they can't because he technically belongs to Fox. But why, Professor Bill? He started off in the Avengers books, not in the X-Men books. You're right, but he has such close ties to Nathaniel Richards or Immortus, and Immortus appeared in what was it, the second issue? No, I think it was later than that. I think it was the 12th issue of what do you call it, the Fantastic Four, and more than that, Nathaniel Richards is actually the great ancestor of Reed Richards. So the Fantastic Four, the stretchy dude, Mr. Fantastic. So that's why they could never use Kang. So I figured it'd be the exact same thing here. So I'm going to say that Marvel had to have made some kind of a special concession with them, but I'm not actually privy to the contract. This is literally just me going by what I do know and trying to piecemeal things together. This episode had so much in it and gave me a lot to think about. First off, I think that the most annoying part of this episode would have had to have been Lorna Dean, who is Polaris. But please, at the same time, like so many of us, so often we like to judge something, the armchair soldiers. You sit back and be like, oh, that sucks. That's stupid. That shouldn't have happened. The most important thing to remember is she's pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So she's already had. They're not showing it, but she's clearly by now got to be having morning sickness and all sorts of things like that. She also did just get finished being tortured and beaten by fellow inmates and things like that. And she, as a mutant, she's being persecuted for all that stuff. But the pregnancy thing, her hormones are in flux. She's all over the place, which is why little tiny things could make her infuriated and just go nuts, or just another little thing could, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Go back and be like, okay, fine, I'll sleep in bed with you. They're really taming it down a lot, but yeah, I got 4 kids, and I could tell you right now, that's the case. That's the case. So no, it's not quite so dramatic. They could have made it more dramatic. For whatever reason, they're not. But just that's the excuse that I'm giving to them, is that yeah, she's pregnant, so let it slide, Anyway, everything about this episode, everything was great. And the only time that they ever really used their powers, that Andy and Laura, was that one time that they had to destroy that wheel of that one truck so they could rescue Polaris and their dad. But they didn't actually hold hands. And it's cool. This is one of the reasons why I love this show. They've got some really good actors in here. Andy's not the greatest actor, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they don't give him much. But when he does come out, he does really shine. When that one big dude was walking up and mentally pushing, no, that wasn't his power. I don't know what his power is, but he was walking, and the force of his will and the intimidation of his size was causing Laura to start backing up. Like, listen, we're gonna. Here's what's actually gonna happen. And she's backing up the whole time, and he realizes what he's doing. So Andy jumps in front, but rather than pushing him back because he knows he can't, he pushes her back and sidles his way in. It's like, hey man, this is what's going to go on. And then all of a sudden everything starts shaking. And of course, this came right after the reveal that Fenris was extremely powerful. Their kinds of mutants they were a step apart from standard mutants. So their mutation is particularly powerful. You could see by the fact that we're obviously focusing on these kids as the main things. Also, when can't remember what his name is, but Proudstar's best friend, when he had the injection of kick, oh my God, these guys are evil. Like the way that the Hound program is treated by Sentinel Services, I swear to God, it reminds me so much of the Tuskegee Airmen and the ridiculous projects that they used to do with them, the scientific experiments they used to do with them, the syphilis treatment and all that stuff. Like just absolutely disgusting. It actually resonates inside me seeing the way they treat these people, getting them addicted to kick and just who knows what else they do to them. Who knows? So absolutely disgusting. But seeing him restrain the powers of everybody, and everybody felt it. Everybody who was a mutant actually felt it. So Proudstar's like, oh, I'm as weak and fragile as you now, you punk. So, hey, what's going on, Victor? It's one of those kind of things where it's like, you see him all weak like that, and it's like, dude, that really sucks. Oh my God. But now here it is that Papa Strucker goes downstairs, Grandpa Strucker. When he goes down there, he's just like, oh no, you will not be searching my place. And he just, and it takes him a bit, but he's fighting back against this mutant suppression thing. Oh yeah, he's got to be really powerful to be able to fight back against that, because it's not just the idea that this guy's mutant power is to suppress mutant powers, but he's also on kick, a direct, like, in the neck adrenal injection, third time's a charm, of kick. This dude was overpowered at this point. Like, he doesn't even have to think about it, really. It's not even much of a concentration thing to keep his power working, his leech-like power, So the fact that his power set was able to be overpowered by this guy's power, yeah, that's impressive. Something else that makes me think about this is maybe Dad. I don't know if they really want to focus on Dad too much, but Dad, that means that he should be able to overcome the suppression of his X gene, the chemical, scientific, suppression of his X gene. And if that's the case, wow. But they both have the ability to do something along the line of telekinesis, which is impressive. I'm digging it. Hey, Raven. Oh, you missed it? Well, it's still out there. But that brings me to the final Strucker member. That's Mama Strucker. Mama is a sad case. Now, clearly she's in support. Clearly she has to be support, but she is so support it's sickening. Like, clearly she'd have to be, a nurse. Even if whether she had the talents of being a nurse or not, she's clearly the nurse here. And she's nursing. She's doing nursey things, all right? Which is a shame, because I don't consider nurses to be support. They're as far as I'm concerned, they're front lines. You know what I'm saying? In the Army, we didn't differentiate between nurses and doctors. Like, everybody was a medic, and the field medics were clearly like, dude, I don't care what your training set is. You're the doc, and you're the one keeping me standing, every time that I fall. So, like, in the military, I don't think I've ever met anybody in the military who would ever differentiate between a doctor and a nurse, as far as I'm concerned, because we're able to recognize both as being flat out superheroes. So there's that. But she's playing nurse here, and she's keeping everybody stitched together. But on top of that, her acting is reduced to, all of her lines are reduced to, okay, so we just set such and such in the plot, so I'm going to say something that's going to make you bring out a little bit of emotion now, but it's just going to be about the same thing. You're just going to say it again, but with a little more emphasis, a little more oofa, all right? And then I'm going to give you a hug and tell you I love you, and then give you a little, I'm going to good game pat you in the ass and send you out to go win one for the Gipper. Like, that's what she's relegated to as an actress. And it's so much that I actually feel bad when I see her on the screen. I actually feel like, okay, I just want to fast forward because it's such a sad scene. Like, she doesn't get to do anything. Everything that she does is go team. I don't want to see her in just a freaking cheerleader role. Come on, man. Even the cheerleader in Heroes got to do a lot more than just be a cheerleader. And she was wearing a cheerleading costume almost the entire season, for crying out loud. So, like, this is so, wow. I feel so bad for her and her role. Like, this is what she's relegated to. But wow, just for the most part, everything about this was incredible, except that. This was a great episode, guys. I know I don't have the energy to really, emphasize how much I love this episode, but man, I can assure you, like this, I think honestly, like this is the bar. The bar has just been set with this episode. All other episodes before and after will have to be measured by this episode. That includes the finale of this season. Has to be measured by this episode. For me, at least, has to be measured because just so much happened here. The emotion of him reconnecting with his father and then losing his father. Like, this is the kind of thing that's going to get pretty much every single guy out there, because every single guy thinks that his father doesn't really love him. You know what I'm saying? Every single guy thinks I was never good enough for my dad. Something that I did caused me to not be good enough in his eyes. He's always looked at me disapprovingly. If he ever looked at me at all, he never talked to me. All that good stuff. Go and watch Raging Bull. Okay, if you're a girl, go watch Raging Bull with your significant other. Go watch it with your dad. Go watch it with somebody. Okay, and I promise you, this dude who you're watching it with is gonna cry. I guarantee he's gonna cry by the end of that. You can't help but like so. So this was one of those kind of things where, like, he finally reconnects with his dad, and all of a sudden it's like, son, you got everything wrong. Everything I did was for you. And he's like, Dad, I can do it. And then he dies. And he dies saving him. And the last thing he says is, take care of my grandkid. Well, duh, dummy. You don't you're like, oh, take care of your grand. Okay, I guess. I never thought to do that before. I mean, I only sacrificed everything in order to protect them, but including having a freaking metal pin ripped out of my knee by a girl who clearly wanted to kill me with it. But yeah, sure, okay. Now that you said something, sure, I'll take care of my grandkid. Like, duh. but it still just resonated so high. Wow, it was good. It was really good stuff. All right, guys, I'm pretty much out of here now. Victor, Raven, so good to see you guys again. Victor, I almost never see you anymore. And everybody who is on here watching also, I genuinely appreciate everyone who watches afterwards. Hey, what's up? Okay, I'm going to go because I'm just not feeling so good. Not feeling so good at all. Okay, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.